It is told that in ancient times there was a judge named Zahran, renowned for his sharp wit, cleverness, and wisdom. He became famous for restoring rights to their owners and defending the oppressed, after solving 3 of the most difficult cases ever brought before him. The first case. 2 men lived side by side as neighbors. One was good-hearted, while the other was deceitful. The kind neighbor did not know the true nature of the man next door. One day, the deceitful neighbor fell into hardship, with no food at home. He went to borrow from his good neighbor but found only his wife, who said her husband was still at work. On his way, he saw the good neighbor returning. He stopped him and asked to borrow 1,000 dirhams. Without hesitation, the kind man agreed. Near them was a palm tree, and he said, "Tomorrow, by God's will, I'll gather the money and meet you here." The next day, the man returned, and the good neighbor handed over 1,000 dirhams. The deceitful neighbor promised to repay it in 3 months. The kind man trusted him, asking for no document or witness. But when 3 months passed, the good man asked for his money. His neighbor denied everything. Saddened, the kind man said to himself, "We live in times when kindness is repaid with treachery." He then went to Judge Zahran and told his story. The judge summoned the deceitful man, who swore he had never borrowed a dirham. The judge asked the kind man if he had proof. He replied, "No, my lord, I trusted him." Sensing honesty, the judge told him, "If you speak the truth, bring me a handful of soil from the place where you gave him the money." The good man hurried off. Time passed, and he had not returned. The judge turned to the deceitful one and asked, "Why do you think he is late?" The man blurted out, "Because that place is far from here." At that moment, the judge smiled. "You have revealed the truth yourself. You know the place because you took the money there." The deceitful neighbor trembled, and the judge ordered him imprisoned until he repaid what he owed. The second case. An old man once rode his donkey to the market to buy a sack of flour. The sack was heavy, so a strong man helped him lift it onto the donkey. On his way home, the donkey stumbled, and the sack fell to the ground. The old man tried, but could not lift it again. A young man passed by, but he was rude and arrogant. He asked the old man what was wrong. The old man explained, and the youth said, "I can lift it for you. But what will you give me in return?" The old man replied, "Nothing." The youth lifted the sack onto the donkey. As the old man prepared to leave, the youth stopped him and said, "Where is what you promised me?" The old man said, "I promised you nothing." The youth insisted, "Exactly. You promised me nothing, and I demand it." Bewildered, the old man took him to Judge Zahran. After hearing the story, the judge realized the youth's foolishness. He ordered the donkey and the sack of flour to be brought into the courtroom. He told the youth, "Take the sack off the donkey and put it on the ground." The youth did so. Then the judge said, "Now lift it again and put it back on the donkey." The youth obeyed. The judge then asked, "What did you find under the sack when you lifted it?" The youth replied, "Nothing." The judge laughed and said, "Then take it. That is what you were promised." And so the arrogant young man was silenced, tasting from the same cup he forced upon the old man. The third case. A man had 3 sons, and all 3 were named Zaid. Before his death, he wrote a will. Zaid inherits, Zaid inherits, Zaid does not inherit. When the sons read it, they were shocked and confused. Which one was meant to be excluded? They went to Judge Zahran. He read the will and pondered. He suspected that one of them was not truly the man's child. To test them, he had them brought in one by one. He told the first, "The court has decided we must exhume your father's body to check fingerprints, to be sure the will was not forged. Do you agree?" The first son shouted angrily, "No, I will never allow my father to be dishonored. Even if I lose my share, I give up my inheritance." The second was asked the same. He too refused, saying he would not see his father dishonored for money, and he renounced his share. The third son entered, and the judge asked him the same, but this one said, "If it must be done, then so be it. The living are more important than the dead." The judge then knew this was the one meant in the will, the one who was not truly the man's son, for no real child would agree to dishonor his father for wealth. Thus Judge Zahran solved the case. From then on his reputation spread. People came to know that the wise judge, with intelligence and discernment, can distinguish between the oppressor and the oppressed. The unjust cannot deceive him, nor escape punishment, and the oppressed shall always regain their rights.